So it's been a few days, and my sister and I have cleared out everything, including all the deep, dark crevices of gems and so on, right up to the crossroads. So here we are in the last section at the end of the game. So spoilers ahead. And I built another base because I'm addicted to building in this game. And of course the front of my base looks very familiar. I have a very similar style, though I adapt it. Now at the Crossroads, for those of you that haven't been there, should stop listening now because there's lots of spoilers. That being said, at the Crossroads there is a ranger camp. It's the last ranger camp of the game, and at least in my experience. And that camp is in a giant multi-tiered room. And at first I decided not to build there because the multi-tiers made it very difficult to get alignment with things. But as I've gotten better over time with building and knowing what can and cannot be done, I decided after watching some other videos to give it a try. And my first couple of times, everything I built here fell down because of that alignment problem. But using the techniques that I've shown, I'm going to show you a very large and elaborate base that isn't my classic base style. My favorite is still the one I do with Doral Delph in the entrance area, which is in a couple of my videos. Now I have done a video of this area before, and quite honestly I was not happy with that base. Parts of it randomly fell off. It didn't have the layout that I normally wanted. So I did a completely new layout, minus the fact that the center still looks the same, though it is very stable. I've reloaded now over the entire, since Saturday, so like 5 days of reloads, and it works just fine. So we're in the corridor opposite in Barazinbar. Before you get to this area here is the Crossroads. So on the other side of this room is the Crossroads. So we're going to go in. Standard stout door entryway, double entryway. Again, never had that breached ever. And you come in to a pretty fantastic view. There's a balcony above us. Got some beautiful stone columns. There is a private residence, multi-floor private residence to the left and right. And before you, a Grand Heart sits up on a large two-story bridge. And I added a whole bunch of detailing. That crown there is a combination of other elements, including the large two-story adamant pillars. And you can build those in sections, by the way. There's a one-story, basically a two-story, and that one-story, well, it's not even one story. It's a basically a top and bottom mushed together. And then the two-story one is the top and bottom with like three central pieces. And what I did was I used the top as crown when I put them on the adamant barriers, and I think it poked through very nicely. Now I did use adamant walls, but I lined the outside of them with granite, the fancy granite, which is not easy to do. It does suck up some space, but it's got a very nice effect. There's the balcony over the front entrance, which I'll show you all in a minute. Now my ranger camp this time, well, my sister's game, the ranger camp was up here on one of the tiers. And you'll notice that I didn't pave this tier so you could see it. There's a tier, stair, tier, and then the bottom of the room. And normally the ranger camp has appeared for me always down there, but in this instance it appeared up here. So I destroyed as much as I could, and I encircled the room, but you can still get in here. And this is what I built. to enclose that. The stone is here, and my repair station is here. I'll go through the residences first. I'll start with mine. This is a 2-tier residence. You'll notice that there's adamant on the outside, but granite on the inside. Out here is a crafting area, all the basic crafting stuff from the beginning of the game. This is a set of stairs that goes up to the upper level that was already here. It was part of the room. So this is a 1-story room with all the basic crafting material in it. All of you that have been watching my videos know I always put in 2 crafting rooms beyond the other larger areas like the forge and the brewery. So, set of armor. I'm going to go make another set of Duran's Guard. I haven't gone there yet. I have various weapons that I moved from other areas, and I wish they had just a thing to put helmets on you instead of having to build those, but I built them anyway. So this is my showroom, my private showroom. Upstairs, my private bedroom. Of course, it has treasure pile so I can get my buffs in the morning. I have to remake or move some shields. Has a small kitchen for myself, and of course small brew tanks for my evening ale, my Hobgoblet lager, and my Ironheart stout. I also have a nice balcony that overlooks the brewery, which we'll go to in a moment. Thank you Duran the Deathless and others that have worked with me to get my woodworking skills up to par. I've started using a lot more of the wood in my builds. Upstairs, so it's a 3-story establishment. Again, rock solid, nothing's fallen off these things. I have a garden. Half of a garden, the other half is on the other side. And I put some flowers and stuff in the middle, mostly for looks. And from up here you get another view of the brewery. And we'll go down there in a minute. Now there's not really any natural sunlight in this room, so you're going to have to use lamps. Alright, there is a balcony that crosses over between the 2 private residences. And of course you can look over the hall, see who's coming. By the way, unfortunately you can't shoot out the windows. It doesn't quite work. There's a real disappointment. I've never been able to hit anything. It seems to immediately stop. There's a nice view of that hearth as it overlooks the bridge. And I tried to add a lot of detail to really bring out the style of the buildings that I like to build. I also tag all the rooms. This is room 1. You'll see this. There's another one downstairs. So because things are symmetrical, sometimes you get turned around. So I mark it. My sister's townhouse is tagged 2. See, there's 2 of those up there. Similar layout. She's got her private bedroom she hasn't filled out yet, and a kitchen. And of course her garden. And we've divided up the gardening. And she's also has a balcony that overlooks the forge. And more of that in a moment. Now both rooms, both my room and hers, do have an entrance to the bridge. But I don't quite want to go here yet. It was interesting for the alignment. It was slightly off. And so I had to build this makeshift little ledge here to make the transition so you didn't have to hop. So if you just go over it, And I did that with a small granite piece embedded into the granite bottom, and I had to raise the door. Otherwise, the door wouldn't open because it was embedded into the adamant pillars, which I'll show in a minute. All right, this is her set of stairs down. Now, her downstairs is a little smaller. She doesn't have a private showcase, but if you don't build, you don't get the good stuff. And she hates building. So I did, this wall was provided, but I did line the top of it with a nice accent. I liked how that turned out. And you'll notice that I put wooden railings on all of my staircases. Here's her two tags, and of course there's my sign, my tag. All right, down here, which you've been to, is the ranger area, and then that is the bridge that we first came in at, and this is a large cooking area. Now there's enough for 2 stories here easily, and I like this effect, and it's used throughout the game when they put together the pre-made buildings, where you'll see the two-story pillars or the creative pillars, and they'll put them flat-faced and then hide the ends so it looks like a flat wall. I like how that turns out. And I didn't need so many here, I just like the way it looked. And so you'll notice right here I have a flat wall, and it's capped at the end by the same adamant pillar, 2-story pillar turned on its side. There's the face, and that's how I capped them off. So in each of these areas is materials to work with. I might do some rearranging. I also had the ends of my supports stick through. Haven't figured out what to do with that yet, and no idea what to do with this little alcove. But there are 6 of these grist mills here. There is a little storage area under here that's currently empty. Lots of storage in here. I have to say, I think it's more storage than in my other build. Now, I didn't move everything from my last build. Certain things, the Buffon furnaces, the grist mills, the stuff that takes a lot of resources, I definitely moved those. For a couple people have asked, do you have an endless supply of materials? Of course not. I do not. But I do basically move the materials that I need to every time I do a major build. It's easier to grow stuff and rebrew than it is to harvest massive quantities of ironwood, by the way, which I'm sure many of you have figured out. So this area could be expanded. I could put a top tier or a balcony made out of wood. I haven't figured out what to do with that yet, but I just left it open. You can see the pattern on the ground, which doesn't look bad. On this side, same 4 cooking areas, and the 4 will make sense in a moment. And this is material storage. I moved some of my material, not all of it. Overflow is over there, and then storage up here for wood and stone. I did move, and I know this is only available on PC, but when you're moving a lot of stuff, logging in and out between worlds, or basically going back and forth with the stone is just annoying. And there is a mod for increasing the stack size, and I do use that mod. I don't use structural integrity mod. I use that mod and the pause mod, which for me is a necessity. Now the bakery is over here. It is embedded underneath this balcony to the apartment building. where there are 4 private apartments. And I'm going to show you that. I'm quite proud of that. So there's the bridge. We'll go up there in a minute. The bakery. And got a flowers growing up there. You can't see it. But there's the bottom floor here and then 2 stories up there. And I'll show you it from the top. It looks pretty cool. I worked on the architecture. I'm trying to get more and more and more detail in what I do. And remember, align, when you do pillars, make sure they're exactly on top of one another. And carry the load. In real construction, they call it carrying the load. You put support under support under support. All right, here's one of the little apartments. On this floor, there are 2 of them. They're accessed through the side. You get the basic accommodations: bed, small kitchenette, private kitchenette, some storage, and your own balcony to look up at the other grand hearth, which is heating this entire area. Now this set of stairs here in this area, which goes up to the bridge into the brewery, and on the opposite side the forge, was already built. I didn't build any of these. That's why I left it so you could see it. I did not cap over that brickwork. I do like how these reflect lights, these pictures of Durin, or carvings of Durin. So working above and next to and under all of those is quite those levels in this room are quite interesting. Now here is the front to the Crossroads, which I'll show you in a minute. And I started moving a few of my past completions of the game, my Durin's Axe and so on and so forth. Show you the treasure room in a minute. Upstairs you have 2 mirrored rooms. Each one of these has a private little balcony where the bedroom is, and the carving of Durin and gold. A little bit more than the last one. I'm sure I'll charge more rent. You got your own flower bed. You've got your own brew keg. Small kitchen here. The bedroom there. Inlaid wood flooring, which is a nice little touch. Same thing on the other side. Oh, don't forget the inlaid wood ceiling. Always a nice feature. Really sells. Now, around the top of this room, and most of the buildings I put a layer of the stout adamant block, and then I embed on top of the granite, and then I embed the slanted pieces for roofing. I noticed it works very well. And of course, I put in for OSHA compliance, I put in the railings. And I'll show you the outside here in a minute. So a few accent pieces like dormers are up there. Nice roof inside an even larger room. Now this room does have a large sculpted ceiling, which is actually pretty nice. This is one of the nicer places to build. Once you get used to the multi-levels and locking things in so they don't fall down and carrying forward the positions, it's okay. Building here is okay. I'll show you that last little apartment. It's the same, smaller, not enough room for a brew keg, but you do get this balcony looking up at the second grand hearth. And I like how this is even closer than the other side. You can see by using the tops of those pillars, you added a nice cornice to the top there. I think it looks really sweet. All right, let's go through the forge. Now the forge I put off to the side this time And I didn't do anything with these rooms. I've tried using them. The fact that I can't get rid of these chairs is annoying as heck. But I put doors on them and called it a day. Now, there are 10 Ufon furnaces. And those are the only furnaces I have other than in the private crafting areas. But there are 10 of them here. They look awesome when you're looking at them. Let's see if I can get a nice view. Yeah. Set off that nice glow. Which is why I left it dark up here. I like the way it looks when it just glows. I put a little bit of accent light on the inside because the light actually reflects off that front surface that's glowing red. I think it looks pretty cool. Now here's the bridge. In the center of the bridge there's this scaffold, which in previous builds always fell apart on me. And using the new bridge building technique that during the Deathless, that's his handle on the game, and in the forums on Discord. He's taught me how to do this and have it sustain itself, so I'm pretty happy. And of course, this is the side view of the two large hearts, and that door I showed you earlier with a little flower box out of my sister's apartment, townhouse. I say those are 4 apartments and these are 2 townhouses, so those townhouses. Yeah, let me see if I can get a good view of that. Yeah, I put that accent there that looked like a chimney. I thought that turned out well. And of course, the stout blocks poking through a little bit to support the lamps. And I tried to leave the statues completely alone. There's a large statue, 2 large statues of the Hearth Mother, or what I call the Hearth Mother there. Nice little flower box. As you see, I just planted it. On the inside, I continued to use those small tops of the pillars, the adamant pillars, as a platform, like a stage. And I placed the hearth on that. I think it turned out very nice. Alright, and I'm under siege. I'm going to let that one go to show you the rest of this. So here's the door for my bedroom, which we were in earlier. Over here is the brewery. Now up here, people are probably thinking, well, what's he going to do with all this space? I have enough room for six King's Brew hearts, King's Brew pillars. So I can't wait to put those suckers in. But like I said, we're ending up her game here shortly. We're in the last area. And since I've done it so many times, I don't think I'm going to have a problem. Plenty of space up here. And I'll show you the arrangement I made for this brewery. So there are 7 of the medium brew tanks. They are all full, and there are 7 of the smaller ones. Here's that balcony in my townhouse that I showed you, and the stairs that came already done. And I added these. It's a little tight, but brings you up to a set of scaffold, because everyone knows I hate climbing ladders. And you can walk right up to your brew tanks, and right at your height you have the taps for the smaller tanks. You can hop up on here to brew them. And I put up the nice little fence areas or the railings just to accent it. You know, got to be OSHA compliant. For those of us that have done construction, that's kind of an inside joke. So, I'll go by there at the end and show you how much damage they did. Shouldn't be much. Oh, this door is open. I noticed doors randomly open in the game. All right, this set of stairs goes down. And here we are in the front. I should probably shut these doors. Shut the door, turn off the lights. Can't tell you how many times as a kid I heard that. All right. These will eventually be filled in. Small armories, you know, grab a weapon and defend us type of thing. And I kept these statues as natural as possible, even though they're on these rock formations. And I tried to keep my building away from them to not disturb the way they looked. All right, now those that know this area know that the well is through here. The whole fool of a took comment when he dropped the stone down the well. I have put a couple statues to the ancestors in here. Here it is. There's actually a couple of the artifacts in this room. There's that one and then that one. And kind of interesting. I did put an armory up here. I plan on just making some weapons and putting them up, enchanting them and putting them up there. And it should look really nice. I filled in that area just to make it flat because it was very jagged. There was no clear place to put anything. And by tiering the balconies, I'm able to do this and walk up there and put weapons on. Again, I wish I had a real ladder, but you can walk up here no problem. I also dual layered the walls. So let me see if I kind of covered it up. If you look up above the big rocks coming through the walls, you notice that there are little rocks poking out. That is because I used stone walls and then over them embedded the granite. And though I couldn't get it to line up perfectly, and you can still see the stone wall here poking through, it does create a really nice rough textured wall effect. And let's face it, no one's going to cry about using a little bit of extra stone. Put some treasure piles out, chest with stuff in it. But this room turned out pretty well. This is treasure vault and last line of defense armory. And I think it's going to look great when it's done. Now I'll show you the front at the Crossroads. I did level the ground to leave the crossroad marker, but put tile around it in this area. I did not touch out here. So here is the Crossroads. And my front entrance. I might put a roof on it. I haven't decided yet. I probably will. You can't really get up there. I didn't put a way to get up there. But we'll be continuing our adventures from here. And I like the way that worked out. All you have to do is fiddle with it for about 10 minutes to get to the right level of just below the marker, this symbol, the crossroads symbol in the ground, but above the stonework. It's a little tricky, but once you get it, it works out. All right, let's go back. See what damage they did to the front. I really wish we could get rid of those piles of dirt on the ground. I notice when you clean up debris, if you're able to get the debris, you know, broken up into wood pieces or stone or whatever, on a reload, some of that miscellaneous debris around it will disappear. But I have a suspicion that there is something trapped under there that I can't get to. And so that cleanup doesn't occur. Oh, I took quite a bit of damage. I've ignored 3 or 4 attacks now. Still held, 32, 47. It takes 3 whacks with an adamant hammer to fix it. Surprisingly enough, that's the same number of licks to get to the center of a Tootsie Roll Tootsie Pop. For those of us old enough to remember that commercial. Alright, a little bit of damage there, not bad. Like I said, I've never had both doors fail. The only time I've ever had one outer one fail in one attack, but not the inner one, was with a troll. Alrighty. So that's a tour of the Crossroads base, the building techniques I've been demonstrating. Please ask questions if you want another demonstration of something. I'm more than happy to do that. But the base did turn out very well. There's no natural sunlight here. The layout is a little awkward. It's not as efficient as my normal layout, but it is spacious. I mean, I have plenty of room here for 6 dwarves, including 2 luxury townhouses and 4 decent-sized apartments. I'm not using bunk rooms or anything like that. 2 dedicated crafting areas, enough for 6 King's Brew towers, 7 of each of the others. So a massive central brewery, a massive kitchen, and plenty of storage. Which reminds me, someone asked me, how do you keep 5+ worlds that you've completed and at least a half dozen resource worlds? Where do you keep all that stuff? Well, I do build, and I don't always tear down the walls. But I build storage rooms. Now, outside of my fortress and Dworodelf, there is a room with another ranger camp. And each one of these is chock full. And I have rooms like this, not only the other stuff completely done. Now, this debris forms sometimes, and sometimes it disappears. I don't understand that. That was gone last time I came here. Now it's back. Weird. But this is a nice tall room. It's got 3 levels. I put a central wall down the room, and then I put stacks of stuff in here. And it's out of the way, but close enough. I put a stone here, and I just fill it up. So what is above is also below. So adamant over there, granite over here. And as I empty to move things, I tear it out and move it someplace else. I've got gems, and sometimes you have to squat to get into things, which is kind of weird. That one's empty. Anyway, and for those of you that were wondering about repairing the staircase, I did a new in this room, because there is a shaft that goes all the way up. I did repair the stairs in a more dwarf-like fashion, which means no railings and a central shaft to fall to your death. This is also incredibly stable, so stable I put all my ore up there. And this is the other ranger camp. This one, when I destroyed what was around it, is suspended in the air, so it allowed me to put flooring underneath it, which is kind of weird. But the bones and the camp itself still floats. Kind of odd. Anyway, let me show you this. So last time I had to find a different way to put the stairs in. Unfortunately, you can't remove this wood. But I wanted to make stairs embedded into the walls, which I also had to line, but leave the central shaft exposed. You see I have some of my materials still out here. Now, at this level, for some reason, the solid click point changed by like a third of a block. I have no idea why, but I just went with it. I don't fight the system that's there. I just click and then I'll adjust as necessary. So it looks a little weird, but it works great. And then at the very top, I put a little platform and a railing. And here we are at the top of that platform. So an even more efficient and nicer looking design than my last one, for sure. And you can, by the way, though I didn't do it, you can extend the reach. You'll notice I put down a couple of hearts and I put up a railing. But if you hop up there, behind the statues, you can put up a grand hearth pushed back into the wall and a solid wall to protect it, because they will try to attack it. And you can extend all the way left and right to cover this entire area with the 2 grand hearts in my current base, as well as one on each side here, and they will all connect. This door also leads you up to the top of that platform above where I just showed you the staircase where the ranger is. And this is my Dorodelf entrance, or fortress. Really wish we could remove the wood here. That's very annoying, you can't. Very disappointing. Must remove all remnants of all orcs from Moria. I put up a couple of armor sets so they look like guardians. Oh, I have to harvest here. When you play 6 times and you mine everything and you do everything, you get a lot of bat droppings. Not to mention my first 2 runs were before the patch where they reduced them. Used to like getting them a lot more. Anyway, so that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed. Talk to y'all later. Bye-bye.